broadcasting from Foothill College. This is KFJC Los Altos Hills. Holy Pow! It's the Pow Magazine Anthology on KFJC. To the Mapmobile.
Let's go.
Ready, set, 1, 2, 3, go!
with no forgiveness in your heart. I think you represent my conscience these days. I know I play a guilty part. In life I'm nothing but a number to them. Though I'm the hero in my head, the road I've chosen has become a dead end. I'd rather live a lie instead.
KFJC and the Pow Magazine Anthology special. Just heard the Hope Thieves and the Dream That's Really Me, which was a demo of theirs, and Raging Marys before that with Like a River from the Like a River LP. Started off with the Shockwaves and Back Wipe.
We're back.
We are back. I am Sal 9000, and standing right next to me is Dennis Gonzalez, the publisher of Pow Magazine, and we're standing here in our Batman and Robin costumes.
In the Batcave. So, anyways, I guess we can carry on from last week where we left off at the top of the hour during Pow Magazine. Before I stopped publishing Pow Magazine, people started contacting me about band management when word got out about the end of the fanzine. But there were two bands I wanted to work with at the time, and that would be Flying Colour and London Down. Ironically, a member of each band contacted me before I had contacted them, so I guess we were on the same wavelength. But unfortunately, Flying Colour broke up before I can do anything for them. But London Down and I decided to work together. By that time, they had a new lead guitar player and a new name change to what you just heard, the Raging Marys. So the deal was to find a new producer for a new record on a new label for promotions. And we found all three early in 1989, and my job was to help book, and under Elusive Management, which was my company, and do a little old-fashioned Pow promotions all over the Bay Area, and with a new album produced by Kevin Army on Wet Rain Records from San Jose. And I designed the album with Ken Hartsoe from the Raging Marys, and the John concept on the front cover was from the band. The second step after the record release in the fall of '89 was to help book in every club in northern central California, plus a West Coast tour to promote the album. Then we took over promotions from Wet Rain Records in 1990 and started to look for another label while touring, and they started recording new music with Kevin. But after 2 years working with the Raging Marys, they burnt out and broke up, so I took a 2-year hiatus from the music business until a new band contacted me in 1993 as a recommendation by my friend Chris Carboni from the Raging Marys. And the Hope Thieves, which you just heard, are originally from Arizona, and they moved to San Jose, and I kind of liked their music. But like London Down, they did well without a manager, with a very minor hit on Live 105. But the Hope Thieves asked me to help them promote their new demo, which you just heard, booked in every club in the Bay Area, and we did all that successfully for 94 and 1995. And we even promoted on the web, which was kind of new at the time. But after 2 years with the Hope Thieves, we had our differences, and I was let go. So I think they shortly broke broke up after that. By that time, I was just totally burnt out with the whole music thing and just refocus on a new path, which you can read about on a 2001chronicles.com. And that's my plug for tonight. Anyways, I'll hand it over to Sal Neisen to start to get back on our Wayback Machine to get this show started.
So what are we covering next, Dennis? Our next segment is...
Oh, no censorship.
All about no censorship. And...
Yeah.
What was no censorship?
Yeah, that's that's what this whole show is about. Before the summer of
tonight.
For the summer of 1987, and before our third issue, co-founder of Pow Magazine, Dave Davis, had given me some paperwork to add to our summer issue about the fight in court involving Jello Biafra and his co-defendants that were charged with violating California Penal Code Section 313.1. And I'll read that to tearing a page from Dave Emery. Let's see if I can do this. Skipping down, I quote, distribution of harmful matter to minors, a misdemeanor that carries a possible fine of $2,000 and a maximum sentence of 1 year in jail, end quote.
So in April of 1986, police officers raided Jello Biafra's house in response to complaints by the Parents Music Resource Center, otherwise known as PMRC. And the complaint was brought by Los Angeles City Attorney Michael Guarino and Deputy to City Attorney James Hahn, which centered around the Dead Kennedys album Frankenchrist on Alternative Tentacles Records. Inside the album was a poster reproduction of a certain painting, and this is what started a whole controversy. And this painting was by world-renowned artist H.R. Geiger. His artwork was a mainstream by that time, due in part to the science fiction film Alien. And ironically, neither the music nor the lyrics from the album was the problem.
Yeah, that kind of blew my mind, because if the prosecutors had won, would that type of content Pow was publishing be subject to censorship? If a minor bought our zine with questionable content, would anything in print could be censored or controlled like in China today? And believe me, there were a lot of questionable content in Pow that would make any English teacher throw up if they read our fourth grade grammar.
So the defense fought the charge on First Amendment grounds, since this was a freedom of speech issue, not a pornography issue. But to understand the political climate in our country at that time, hysteria can be traced onto the power plays of the right-wing extremists and self-proclaimed moral guardians bent on censoring artists on religious and moral grounds. So, on March 13th, 1987, the Dead Kennedys pleaded not guilty.
Yeah, Dave felt since we published anything, that could be a problem if we don't help the No More Censorship Defense Fund to raise some cash. Jello Biafra, the late Dirk Dirksen, and Suzanne Stefanek founded the organization, a benefit made up of several punk rock bands, to help pay for legal fees. Now, Dave wanted to do some fundraisers with bands we know, and I was to recruit those bands for us. So I was an instant activist, and that was the Dave way. See, the Dave wave was, we're going to do this and that, see us. So that was Dave. So I studied the idea in the South Bay and in San Francisco, and but as far as the South Bay, we really didn't have much to work on due to the lack of venues for alternative music. And San Francisco venues to host fundraisers was a real problem for us.
By the time the third issue of Pow Magazine was published, the trial went before the jury on August 25th and August 27th. The jury was deadlocked at 7 for dismissal and 5 for conviction. And despite a petition Judge Asaroff denied the motion and dismissed the charges for good.
Yeah, I felt happy not just because of the acquittal, but Pow Magazine didn't have to go through the fundraisers. So I had thought I had enough on my plate. I had already locked in a show with Muzzy's Club in San Jose with 3 bands because of the size of the venue. It was quite small. And some of the San Francisco bands we've interviewed in our past issues agreed to help us. Originally, I wanted Camper Van Beethoven and Daddy and His Deep Sleep, but they were on tour at the time. But Dave said that the No More Censorship Defense Fund still needed to pay its legal fees, and I think it was around $51,000, which had been donated, but $12,000 needed to be paid off. So that was over $60,000 in legal fees to fight censorship in America. So I was not let off the hook. So after haggling with the Kennel Club in San Francisco about the band lineup and the number of bands I wanted, a date was set for September 16, 1987. And Yuri, the owner of the club, didn't believe we could get the bands to share equipment to finish a show on time. But all the bands agreed to help out, so he agreed to host this the fundraiser event. Dave was the liaison between POW and the No More Censorship Defense Fund, and should have done our radio appearances, and I was only to organize the concerts, but he was busy with school and his day job, and I was thrown in the lion's den. So SAL 9000 and I like to tip our hat to the original staff of KUSF of the late 80s for helping POW Magazine's first fundraiser concert, which was a smashing success. But unlike the Lonnie Works segment we done last week's show with back-to-back interviews and live music from the double LP, what we'll do for the fundraiser shows is to insert POW Magazine interviews, album tracks from the bands, and live music from the fundraiser, a documentary never released. And here's one more tidbit to set up the first radio promotion with KUSF. It was around the time Pope John II was visiting San Francisco, and the bands on KUSF began to use his visit as part of a discussion on censorship, just for fun. And off the air, Judy, the KUSF DJ, reminded us not to bring up the Pope since we were at a Catholic school. Then during a live break, we started talking about the censorship in our daily lives until I brought up the reason why KUSF was censoring us about the Pope. Then everybody in the studio just froze. I didn't even know I said that. It just came out. So later that evening, I apologized to Judy, but she said it was no big deal and they didn't shut us down. So I'm going to hand it over to SAL 9000 to get the show started.
So, having said that, we're going to hear an interview with KUSF host Judy and Dennis Gonzalez, Leslie Medford, and Terry Von Blankers from the Ophelias, Hecker Pandolas, and Chris Von Snydern from Flying Color. This was recorded by John Gon, and it has introduction and discussions about the case. This is KFJC, and you're tuned into the Pow Magazine special. And here we go.
Leslie, Terry, Chris, and Hector, and Dennis.
And Larry.
And Larry, and Mo, and Joe, too. Okay, let's see. Flying Color and the Ophelias. That's where you guys are from. I'll let you guys introduce yourselves, actually, if you want to go ahead and do that. So, Dennis, you want to start off?
Well, welcome, people. I'm Leslie from the Ophelias.
I'm Hector. I'm a Taurus. I'm in Flying Color.
Oh, come on. I'm
Play
Terry
the
from the Ophelias. 2 bass players right next to each other. It's amazing.
Yeah, I'm Chris. I'm not Richard. No. Chris here.
Are you,
How you doing?
Is that you? No.
No.
You look different.
Yeah, that's me. How you doing, boss?
Okay, well, they're all playing tonight, Flying Color and the Ophelias, along with John Gon and the McGuires tonight at Fritz's Kennel Club. It's a benefit.
Plus the cat head.
Okay, plus the cat heads.
You had to say
I didn't
that,
forget the
didn't you?
cat heads.
They're the headliners. Don't forget about that.
I was just
I forget
testing you to
them a
make
lot.
sure that you all knew who was on that bill, too. Okay.
Oh, and an hour of Jell-O.
3 hours.
And Jello Biafra,
Probably 4.
too. Okay, we're getting all of these additions. Who else is going to be there? Is there going to be a fashion show?
MTV. The Pope is going to be there.
MTV.
Oh yeah, we gotta support some people who don't have any money, so we're trying to be nice.
Us?
Us, yeah.
Well, whose idea was this?
The idea was, it came from Dirk from Censorship, and he called us up and say, hey, let's try to do a benefit. You guys seem to be locked into the scene, so we thought, okay, we'll ask the band to see if they want to play with us and do a big benefit show in San Francisco. So I asked these guys, and I didn't have to ask twice. They said, yeah, let's go for it. And voila, we did it within 2 weeks.
Okay, this benefit that we're talking about, by the way, it's the benefit for the No More Censorship Defense Fund. Dennis, you want to go ahead and describe a little bit about that case, just so that those people who aren't familiar with it, which they should be, because there's been...
Yeah, Jello, I think the whole world knows by now, he's been acquitted.
Mm-hmm.
It was thrown out of court. It was deadlocked. I guess the jury was a mixed jury, young and old. And so it really was a waste of time after 2 years. So
lots of dollars.
Lots of dollars, yeah, 60,000 or something like that. So we're not going to really make a dent, the way I see it, what money we raised tonight. But I think it's just a statement saying we haven't forgotten, and the threat's still there. Mm-hmm. And I think everyone else here feels the same way.
Right. Dennis just mentioned something about the threat still being there. Okay, I'm going to direct this question to Terry. I mean, it pertains, Hector and Chris and Leslie. You can all answer if you'd like. But I'm going to ask you, what happened to Jello with this case? Has it or will it affect the music that you will put out from now on? I mean, do you feel any restrictions when you're composing a song, or... That's basically...
Not really, since I don't do most of the writing in the Ophelia as Leslie does, but I think hopefully that there won't be any kind of a threat from that. I mean, if this case is going to be kind of a landmark to, give the PMRC, take the wind out of their sails, hopefully, so that they don't try to jump on these cases and try and censor. Stop looking at me like that. Hector, you're making me very nervous.
Hector, you want to go ahead and answer that question, too, on your behalf?
Yeah, sure. It all has to do with your moral values. I mean, you could sit down and write a song, and if you're into, nasty stuff, you write a song about nasty stuff. Look at Prince, it's been there since, the day music started, basically. Help. And I mean, listen to the old blues songs and whatnot, Yeah, I mean, they have slight connotations, they're in different ways, analogies and whatnot. It's like, how can you stop that? It's just now it's in a different form with different music. I mean, it's just there. It's always going to be there. And it's like these people come out and they're just, they figure, well, I'm bored. Why don't we try to, do something here? And it's like, moral majority, what are they talking about,
But if you notice, they're not picking on the big major label, superstar.
Oh no, they're not.
People, it's more the people who are
no one's going to
are more subversive, more politically, subversive.
Sure, of course. I mean, they're going
the American way, supposedly.
Yeah, they're not going to touch Prince. There's no way they're going to touch.
Yeah, see, they're not going for that.
I mean, according to what I've read before, they have. I mean, it's the same thing with Madonna too.
Yeah, they're basically aiming at the heavy metalers, like a Wasp and whatnot. It's like. So what? Who cares? It's like, why don't you pick on Little Richard for that matter?
Right.
Baseball stars.
Yeah, baseball stars.
Yeah.
Well, with the
Gary Hart. Hey, look at what happened to him. He didn't even put out a record for crying out loud.
Look what the Pope's been saying. Yeah. What about him?
Well, Dead Kennedys, it's very. I mean, they take it right to the limit, so it's obvious. You see this picture, you see. You hear the lyrics. I mean, they lay it straight out. It's not hidden behind any funny words that are so-called popular. So that's the new saying or whatever.
It's not sexually suggestive.
Well, what tripped me out the most was the fact that this whole thing had started because of that poster by Geiger, right?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, then gradually they just started weeding more and more into their songs too. I mean, they made a bigger deal out of it than.
Yeah, it's in part character assassination is what, I mean, that's what those types of people do to try to, they try to make rock and roll a scapegoat for other things,
Try to make an example out of the little guy, as an example that...
Or a punk.
We can drive you out of business, I mean, if you don't, toe the line.
This is America, you can't be a punk rocker here.
Not anymore.
Not anymore, hey. I mean, we've got like a holy rolling, amusement park now? I mean, sign of the times, right?
Praise the Lord Amusement Club.
Yeah, with Jerry Falwell running
a concert with
Walt Disney.
Tomorrow or something like that.
The Catheads are playing, right?
It's to commemorate the Beatles' 21-year anniversary. Pope will be doing Hard Day's Night, and She Loves You, and Help.
He actually has an opening act, too, that comedian, Pritchard or Jonathan Pritchard?
No, Jonathan Richman.
Oh, right.
Yeah, well.
They're going to do Why Don't We Do It in the Road together, right?
In a Pope-mobile.
No, I don't like that Pope. I don't like a guy that wears a funny hat. Well, anyway.
Okay, well, I've heard enough about the Pope. Let's hear a song by the Ophelias. That's what I want to do.
Pope on a rope.
Okay, so I will return after the song. That was the Ophelias, and we're back, and we're going to continue with this interview. We left off talking about, we just completely digressed last time, but
diverged,
regress. We got lost. We're back with.
Where are we?
We are back with
like that EP,
Leslie and Terry from the Ophelias.
That was our brand new.
We play at 10 o'clock tonight. Don't
Pow
miss us.
Magazine.
We play at 11 o'clock tonight. Don't miss us.
Yeah, I have their schedule here too. Let's see, John Gone at 8 o'clock to 8:30. The McGuires from 9 to 9:30 p.m. The Ophelias from 10 to 10:30. The Flying Color from 11 to 11:30. And Jello Biafra with the spoken word. I guess starting at 11:30.
Spoken word.
Yeah, that's a new band. They're kind of like Culture Club, kind of.
Band, right? Okay, and the Catheads from 12:30 to 1 a.m. This is. I noticed this bill out of all the bands in San Francisco. Why these bands?
Why these bands? You say? Why these bands?
Why
we're hella nice
bands?
guys. What can I say?
I knew you were going to ask that.
You know, Well, you knew I was going to
Nice.
ask it. Do you have an answer?
Yes,
okay.
I do.
Okay.
Well, it was like a bowl. We had names cut up, and we put it in a bowl, and we figured, what the hell, these bands are, they're cool about it. So we picked each name, and we picked them. We picked John Gone, we picked the Ophelias, we picked
McGuire's.
Oh yeah, I forgot about McGuire's.
Flying Color. And,
Catheads. and-
I mean, I forgot about the Catheads. So don't.
Oh. And then, like I said before, it didn't take twice to ask these bands. I think if I asked any bands besides these guys, I think I'd get the same response. And not just San Francisco, but all over the Bay Area. And I have a lot of requests of getting on that bill, but we can't, only 5 bands are allowed. But maybe down the road we can make a bigger concert, which is
A bigger concert? Bigger, excuse me.
Bigger. Big. Go big. And then we could probably have a...
Terry just has a one-track mind. That's all.
Yeah. Still on that one track, but...
Yeah, play Anchor Brewer.
Then we can have...
There we go.
Add more bands for, the Joe thing. Keep that alive.
These are the best bands around. I mean, I think we can all agree on that.
Hell yeah.
Best bands for the occasion.
I don't know. How do you guys feel about that? Do you feel like some other band should have been on the bill?
Well, that's hard. I think that's pretty hard to say. I'm glad that, we're all on this bill.
I thought the Starship should have been on it. I mean,
they're definitely a very political band.
the Offers will be
built this
friends with
city on
those
rock
guys,
and
with
roll.
Grace, and
Johnny and the Potato Chips.
Yeah, what happened to those guys?
Yeah, there was a discrepancy on the bill. They thought 6 bands was just too much for the Kennel Club, and they said cut it down, so we had to ask Potato Chips to
We ate them.
go back to the bag. Yeah, they ate to
Heart's Content.
Dennis, I wanted to ask you, is this an entire issue of Pow Magazine?
No.
Just written about... Because there's a lot of information in here. I don't
want to plug the magazine. We just want to help out censorship, put on some benefit shows for Jello. I won't even sell any magazines at the club or even mention Pow Magazine. We'll just do the show and hopefully have a great time.
Great.
And hopefully educate the people at the same time. We want to entertain the people, but also educate them at the same time. So, but Pow Magazine, Pow Magazine, I don't want to.
What was that again?
He doesn't want to
POW.
plug Pow Magazine, get it? The San Jose Magazine. You know that San Jose Magazine
Dennis,
down
don't
in San
argue the
Jose.
editor of that. Jeez. Need any writers? Well.
What was that you're saying about contradictions, though, Judy? You were mentioning something.
No,
You wanted to talk about contradictions.
I did want to talk about contradictions. Thanks for reminding me. No, actually, you had mentioned something about it, and it reminded me of it because talking about don't censor us, Judy. What's this release form here?
I kind of ironic.
I felt really weird when he walked in, handing Hector the release form.
But don't worry, Jello. I signed your name.
Nice
You
sound,
want
Klaus
to be Jello be after.
No, that's taking it a little bit too far.
Yeah. So hey, how's your motorcycle?
Made some new fork sales.
Really, I got a problem. My front caliper keeps locking up.
Really?
I come into work at 7 in the morning, like my friend Guido's standing there at work.
Yeah.
Roll in the station, things squeaking, Boss gets mad. Censorship,
That's
He doesn't want me to say my thing. It goes all over, it carries on. You go to work, you censorship. You can't say what you feel about certain customers.
Yeah, you can't say anything to your boss, man.
No.
Yeah, it's like I can't leave my tools in the garage because my roommate gets mad. He wants to censorship my works down there.
We can't even
Bonk.
joke around about the Pope on this station. They won't let us.
It just depends.
Shall we give away tickets?
What you're into.
I think Leslie don't have motorcycle.
You guys are a bunch of animals. Okay, yeah, actually we've got a pair of tickets to give away for tonight's benefit.
We'll make this really hard.
Okay, we'll take the first caller who can tell us who's all in the studio with me. Give me all of their names.
I got a better question. Who was the judge at the hearing?
Oh, that's a good one too. Who was the judge?
Judge Wapner.
Or what was that? No, what was the jury locked at? How many? Yay
What
and
was
nay.
the vote, huh?
It was
What was the jury vote?
It was the same score as the hockey game between, who was it? It was the
Rangers, definitely the Rangers.
Rangers and what's that team there from way up in Quebec?
Edmonton?
I'm not sure.
Edmonton Oilers.
No, it was further north, like Chicoutimi or whatever.
Okay, well, if you can answer Chris's question, that's another one too. If you can remember the name of the team.
Well, that's a hint.
Hockey score.
Okay, that's. All right, first caller, and right now we're going to hear a song by Flying Color. I'm pretty sure it's off your new album.
What's it called?
Yeah, it's new to everybody, but
Is it brand new?
Which song?
But to you, it's like, you know.
just buy it, okay?
We'll find. Oh, I was Chris. Which song? Which
It's
song?
finally in the
Oh,
store.
I believe it's
Okay.
a wise to her ways.
Ooh,
Okay, well, it's.
baby.
I think it's.
Twice to her
is the song
ways,
playing right
baby.
now?
No.
There he goes.
Okay, let's hear it.
Pay attention. Like that. We're on the
That
air.
was Flying Color with Hector. What song was that?
Wise to her ways.
Baby.
Who's that about? Who are you wise to?
Oh, I don't know.
My name is Judy, and I'm back here with.
Judy's doing a wonderful job, by the way.
Yeah, let's give her a hand.
Thank you. Okay.
Hey, hey. I'll tell you what, we'll write a song about you, right?
Oh, I appreciate it. Oh, you already have one. You have one. That's okay.
Isn't it Judy's sweet blue eyes?
Okay, Terry and Leslie from the Ophelias, and Chris and Hector from Flying Color are here right now, and Dennis Gonzalez from Pow Magazine.
That's right.
Dennis,
That's Pow.
Pow.
Don't forget it.
Okay, do you have anything else to say before we wrap this all up? I mean, you might want to plug the show, I'm sure.
Or our new EP, buy it. It's at Rough Trade. Came out Friday.
If you don't have enough money for that, buy the Flying Color record.
No, ours is much cheaper, man. Ours is much cheaper.
No,
Sorry.
save your money and come to the show tonight.
Yeah, but you guys has had like more color on your cover. We only had like little spreckles on ours, so.
Well, but you got cassettes too.
Don't you guys have cassettes?
No.
Ooh.
Not of the EP.
You can have a 12
Sure you
inch.
have.
How can you have a 12-inch cassette? It just doesn't work.
Sure you can. But anyways, go to the show. We'll have many records and tapes to sell, and we'll autograph anything you want, and bring your dog, you know.
Also, the Seeing Eye is going to be there. They'll be having the multimedia slideshow.
That should be really cool.
That's going to be really
cool.
Different. And we'll come out.
Refreshments.
We're also filming this thing.
Refreshments,
We're also
popcorn,
5 bands.
5 bands, and 1 Jello
And one show.
Jello mold.
for an hour. Ooh.
No, seriously, please come out there and support alternative music.
And cast your vote against censorship.
Yes.
Yes.
The evil disguised
cheer.
as good. Watch out.
Well, I'm really glad that you guys had a good time today, because I did. So I just thought I'd let you all.
Thanks for letting us on the air.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you,
So now
Judy.
more anchor steam.
Yeah. We'll see about getting you some of that. All right.
Welcome,
Okay.
Papa.
Okay, we're done.
Thanks a lot, you guys. That was hilarious.
Thank you. All right, so back to the studio. And this is McGuire's Garbage Man on KUSL.
It's actually KFJC and the Pow Magazine special, actually Pow Magazine Anthology special, here with Dennis Gonzalez as my co-host. Right, Dennis?
Right, I'm here.
And what we just heard was a bunch of interviews discussing no censorship at KUSF, along with hosts Judy and Dennis, and a bunch of folks from, let me think here, the Ophelias, and Flying Color, and also heard the Ophelia song Wicked Annabella, right?
Right.
From the Night of Halloween album, and heard Flying Colors track Wise to Her Ways.
Baby.
Wise to Her Ways. Baby. No, it's actually called Wise to Her Ways from their premiere release.
And Terry censors me about joking around about the Pope.
Yeah. And that was, when were these recorded? In 87?
Right before the show, we had like 3 hours to go, and we did an evening discussion about the censorship show at the Kennel Club. And they brought us in, all of us at the same time. Like I said before, Dave couldn't make it, so I had to represent the No More Censorship Defense Fund, which was kind of crazy because I was trying to organize the show that night at the same time, so I was all over the city.
So what are we going to go to next?
Oh, well, like I said, we're going to put in some Pow Magazine interviews with their band tracks, along with the No Censorship live tracks. And the first band we're going to start off for this Mayhem show, John Gone. By the late 80s, the so-called underground folk revival was widespread and can only be heard on college radio and found at some local independent record stores. But John Gone was faithful to the 60s and 70s folk rock sound of the Byrds and Neil Young, and wasn't exactly alternative compared to their counterparts in L.A. I interviewed John Gone in our first issue, but the band replaced their lead guitar player and vocalist Doug Bloomers with Paul Hartman, which changed that jangly sound to a more rock and roll sound. By that time, I interviewed the band for issue 2, and they were on a different direction with a new sound.
So once again, you're tuned into the Pow Magazine Anthology special on KFJC. We welcome you to go to the Pow Magazine website, which is powmagazine.org. And also you can join in with us on Facebook on Powzine, which is the site there, Powzine on Facebook, or call in 650-941-2500. So next up is John Gone on KFGC.
How's things going, John?
Real good.
How are things going?
We're doing okay. And you, Paul?
We're going okay.
Phil, how are you doing?
I'm fine. Hold this guitar before I pull it off.
Great.
Good. I'm really glad I joined the band and having a really good time. Sure, I hope.
Glad to have Paul on board.
So those are the big changes?
Yeah, Paul has added a good edge to the band. I think adds live to the sound, helps get the energy going.
And when did you join the band? Joined, what was it, about in August? About 6 months.
Yeah, we joined up, we learned a few songs, and we played a party. We played one gig in Oakland 2 weeks ago, and here we are tonight.
Despite that, we decided to play tonight.
Wait, this is your first time to play?
No. Second time in a long time.
Well, what did you do before?
I played in local bands, and I played in a band called The Twist, and I played in a band called Robin Banks, and then I took about 2 years off and tried to lose myself, and found myself, and then John asked me to join, so here I am.
Actually, I played a band called The Twist with Paul about 3 or 4 years ago. That's where we met. We've maintained a friendship since then, and it just made a lot of sense to play music with a friend.
So he contributed to the new sound in John Gone?
Yeah, he really has contributed.
Yeah, we've kind of changed from, it used to sound, it was more jangly, and there was more of a country influence before. And now I think we're going for a little bit more modern sound. How would you describe it?
How would I describe it? Well, what are your influences, Paul?
Well, what are your influences, Paul?
Curly.
I said that in the last interview.
He said that last time. We got a copyright.
That's the one thing we have in common. No, I listen to everything. I listen to rock, I listen to classical, I listen to ethnic music, Chinese music, voodoo, drum music, anything. There's certain things I like. I don't like everything, but there's a lot of styles I like, and it gets all mashed in. And I am from Jackson, Michigan, originally. That's near Detroit. Grew up on the Motown sound and high-energy rock bands. Yeah, MC5, bands like that. Yeah, I was really into that for a long time. Iggy Pop was finally getting some of the recognition he deserves.
Was it hard for you to adjust to the John Gone's band?
Yeah. It was. It's a new direction. I'm used to playing a little bit more of a rock and roll bluesy style, and this is more. It's more melodic. Most of the tunes aren't blues based. Some of them are, but I feel like I get a little bit of that. But it's really forced me to broaden my style. And I'm really happy about that.
Was it hard for John to adjust to you?
Well, probably. Well, asking Paul to join the band was pretty much a conscious effort on my part to add a more aggressive edge to the sound. And, I didn't know if it really would work out, but I wanted to give it a try. And Paul has been able to add his more aggressive style to my songs. And basically, I show him the basic song, and he
wrecks it.
What was that?
Wreck it.
He comes up with something kind of in between a hard sound and a more, birdsian sound. So it kind of comes out like it's not real hard rock, and it's not countrified. But
John writes a lot of the music, and there's a lot of parts that he writes that I feel are better than what I could come up with at that point. Sometimes I come up with something better, but I think even when I play your ideas, it comes out sounding like me somehow, hopefully.
What about you?
No. What about me? I like the new band. Sounds real good. We're getting a more modern direction to be able to compete with some of the newer bands.
Yeah.
Birds will still always be an influence, but there's a lot of other bands we like the Church, and the Modern English is another one, or whatever, but it just has a more aggressive sound, and it's nice to wail on the guitar change and then come down to hear the 12 string. So I think we're going in the right direction.
Yeah, your music's more diverse now. Yeah, you have the high energy sound, and then you got the mellow sound in there, and then.
How do you think it compares? Like, you've heard both.
Okay, I heard it like 9 months ago, and it's more tighter, it's more entertaining. You have a good show.
Come and say it's something about the Queen. There were peasants singing and drummers drumming, and the archers stood the tree. There was a fanfare blowing to the sun that was floating on the breeze. Look at Mother Nature on the run in the 1980s. I was lying in a burned-out basement with the full moon Well, I dreamed I saw the silver spaceship flying in yellow waves of the sun. There were children crying and colors flying all around the chosen ones. All in a dream, all in a dream. The loading had begun. They were flying Mother Nature's silver seed to a new home in the sun. They were flying Mother Nature's silver seed to a new home in the sun. All in a dream. All in a dream. All in a dream.